3 or 4 on this side.
Hey, hey, Frank.
Hey, Woody.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, how about you?
I'm doing great.
What on earth are you doing?
Well, we are cleaning up a friend, Mike, and Mike went to the Congo with me and been back in the early 1998. Him and I made the trip over a number of times, and so he needed some help cleaning up his backyard. He's been a little under the weather. And so we brought the power saw, got chippers going, and we're cutting down bushes and stuff out of his backyard, trying to rehabilitate it. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm right in the middle of that.
You're a good man, Woody.
Hey, we try to be. But thank you for coming in. And I want to go ahead and let you ask whatever you would like.
Well, you know, Woody, I've been kind of thinking about it, and I think my first question has to do with value, and by that I want to reference of the psychologist, and philosopher William James, who said every difference must make a difference. And the question I have in any time that I'm tempted or challenged to intervene in something is, what difference am I going to make? And I think that's critical, because if you really feel that you're making a difference, then you're challenged to do more.
Mm-hmm.
So and what really brings it, there's some things that I'm going to follow up with, but what brings that home to me is, you know, I have been doing a lot on Facebook, and I've made Facebook friends with musicians all over the world. Some people that are just music lovers, but a lot of musicians, and but have become friends with people all around the world, and one of them sent me a message that was very straightforward. It said, "Hi, I hate to bother you, but I'm starving. Can you help me? I'm starving. My family's starving." And so I have a series of things I do to check out messages. I went to his Facebook page, and he looked like a straight up kind of a person. He was not a robot. He's from Kenya. I don't know the situation in Kenya, but worldwide, I know that there's people starving everywhere, and I
Mm-hmm.
do what I can. But uh, I know that you have been to Congo, and you know how much difference an American dollar can make in Congo. And I just wanted to know your thoughts on the difference that a dollar makes in Congo, for Congo Helping Hands, for the people of
Good
Congo.
question, Frank. I tell you, one of the things that you have to put into perspective, Congo is very poor, and it's at the bottom of the totem pole. Uh, there, I think that somewhere around about 180th out of 200, just about 190 countries. So they have a lot to problems, and health issues, education, being able to get food and everything like that. So a dollar is really a lot of money, because I know that people who work in Kananga, which is they are fortunate to have a job. They work for less than $1 a day, and because they get $30, that would be a lot of money at the end of the month for working. They may even get $20 since there's only 20 working days. So a dollar takes care of their family, say the majority of it, because they have a wife or something like that that's going to be doing something on the side, if not working. But it's something. We were talking this morning, reminiscing, and we were talking about a 5-gallon jug of palm wine, which is a homebrew wine that they make out of palm, was like, it's equivalent now of about 30 cents. And that's a lot of money. Most people can't afford that, to be doing that. And so a dollar goes a long ways. And so when you give somebody a dollar indirectly, or the equivalent in their local money, that can feed them for a day. They can buy corn and uh, you know and cassava and have a meal, and that that's life saving. So when we think about a dollar that we buy a cup of coffee here in the United States, even worse yet, when I spent $2 for a cup of tea at Starbucks, I mean, that's money that the average Congolese would think that's good. If they made $60 or $40 a month, they would be happy with a job like that. I mean, teachers. Let me ask a quick question. How much were you making when you a month?
Around 45 dollars.
Yeah. So, I just got my friend here, Monica Sungo, and he was a teacher, and he made about $45 a month, and that was working at a high school. So, that's a lot of money. So you can kind of, when you break that down to a daily basis, you're not talking about a lot of money can make the difference. So a dollar can go a long ways. But back to your issue with the person from Kenya, I'm also thinking the people who are truly poor and truly in need, you're not going to see them on the internet. They're not going to have enough money to make it to the internet. They're not going to have enough money to get a phone, say a smartphone, to get to the internet. So that person, he may have been starving, but it may have needed stuff, but he is not. Somebody with a phone and the internet, you're the upper crust there. So it's kind of like, I guess we giving out tax benefits to the people who making the top 1%. That's almost like giving money to the top 1% of a person, of a group that would be on the internet. So that's something to think about when you think about, if somebody is reaching out to you on the internet, they probably is not your ordinary everyday citizen and stuff like that.
That's really an interesting kind of a situation there. What I advised him was to go to his pastor and have his pastor serve as a third party reference for him if he's going to be reaching out to people. And he said, well, my pastor's in trouble too. And I thought, well, okay, take your pastor and go to a nearby Presbyterian church. Now he's in Kenya, so I don't know how that would work. I don't know how the Presbyterian church is in Kenya, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking that as a Christian, I can't just ignore people who come to me and say I'm hungry, but neither can I waste money on somebody. And I say waste. I can't. I have to make the best use that I can of any resources that I have. And that's one thing that I really appreciate about the fact that you have worked in Congo. You have been there personally. You have contacts of people that you know, and so help that goes to Congo Helping Hands is going to be going to people that really need the help. How do you handle that? How do you handle donations? And how are you going about helping people? And you're basically in the Kinshasa area?
No, I'm in the Kananga area, which is Kinshasa is the big city. That would be the equivalent of New York City, or about, say, in a smaller place. It's, even though it's a city, and probably has some of the living standards of a larger city. There's a television station, radio station. There's schools. There's some running water. You may get electricity some days of the week. So it's better than being in a village, but most of our work is out. We try to do outside in the village, reaching those people who cannot afford, the people, like I say, that we deal with and trying to help. They don't have a cell phone to reach out to you. And I would, I mean, if someone that I knew from Congo would send me a message and said, oh, I need some money, and he's on a computer, I would automatically know that, hey, you really not if you're needing money, I know that there's 1,000 other people who really need money, and they can't afford those luxuries as a computer and the internet and things like that. So, I mean, it's kind of typical. A lot of people who have money, they have 2 or 3 phones and things like that, where people in the village, they may share a phone with their family, or they may even share some, like a telephone booth. Somebody may have a phone and you want to make call to your family in the city, you would go over to a little side stand, and they would dial up the number for you, and you would pay them to use the phone. So it's one of those things that we really try to look at, because we know what the situation is. We try to really help the people, and we try to do projects that's not only going to help one person or one family, but multiple families. For instance, we started helping a group of farmers. Now that group of farmers, that represented many people, about I think it was about 15 people. So that was like 15 different families. And when you bring in the extended families, that probably reached out to maybe 50 to 60 extended families. So you were helping a group, and with that families can raise food. They will make it for their family. They maybe have some leftover that they can sell and pay for school fees and doing a lot of other stuff. So you really have to look at it from the standpoint of trying to help multiple people do things. versus one person. So, I typically, try to, make an impact is that the dollar that you spend is going to be multiplied and stuff like that.
So you leverage you take what the donations that you get, and then you find ways to really make them effective in helping people.
Correct.
Now, one of the things that I know that you're doing is you're drilling wells. Am I right on that?
Right. Yeah. And that's that drilling wells is, that's for a village, and that's going to be water that the village can use, and that they can also provide that the kids can get water closer and maybe even attend school at that point in time. So you're looking at the multiple effects of things. Not only you're giving them clean water to drink, but you're also helping the kids lighten their load so that they maybe can attend school instead of going to haul water.
So, in other words, now wait. I've hauled water as a young person. As a matter of fact, I was talking to a friend of mine about that this morning. I moved to a farm where there was no well, and I had to haul water from an open well at the bottom of a hill in 5-gallon buckets,
Hmm.
and water is heavy. I can
Uh,
testify, Woody.
it's
Water is
about I weighed it one day, and I had a big 5-gallon bidon, and it weighed 42 pounds. And most of the water sources over in the Congo, they are not up on top of the hill like Jack and Jill went up the hill. They're down in the valley, so you got to walk up a hill, a steep incline, a rugged trail back up to the village with 40 pounds of water on your head.
That's a lot of water on your head there.
That's right.
Uh,
And you may have to do that 2 or 3 times a day, because you talk about that's only 5 gallons of water. So how much uh it, how far is 5 gallons of water going to do?
Not very. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure that they make it. What's the quality of the water that they're hauling?
It varies from village to village, and some people have good water sources. We went out and tested water, so some of the wells, I mean, some of the water sources that they were using, they're all pretty much natural sources. So they're not a drill well. So most of them were in pretty good shape. I think we found about a third of them had high levels of E. coli in it, which that means to say that somehow there was fecal bacteria was getting in the water. So so some of them were very good, and some of them were, suspect. So you would liably, there's a chance of, if you got fecal bacteria in your water, there's a chance of you getting sick from it.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's pretty dangerous stuff.
Yep.
Uh, so so it's this kind of work, especially water, will keep children out of school.
Uh, yeah, because that's who normally gets all the water is the kids. I mean, that's their chore, is to go get water, go to get firewood, go to the market to get something. And if it's a big family, the older kids may be responsible. If somebody is sick, they're the ones that's also going to have to take care of the younger brothers and sisters or something like that. So it's very hard on the teenagers as they get up, because they get to be more responsible, and then they may be even pulled out of school to help harvest the crops and stuff like that.
For the How much difference does the schooling make to people in that area? how much schooling is available, and how much difference does it make in their opportunity for employment?
Well, that's a big, it's a mixed problem. In some areas, you may, if you're in a village, you may not have a secondary school, but you may have a primary school. So that means that you can go to grades 1 through 6. Then after that, you would have to go to maybe a neighboring larger village that may have a central school for several villages, because they look at it from the standpoint of it's like a pyramid. The higher you get in education, the less people that's there. So it would not, even though your area may have a elementary school, it may not have a secondary school, because people drop out and they're not gonna utilize it. So it makes it inefficient to have a secondary school in every village. But the people really value education. That's one of the things, and they look at it as a way to better themselves, because as we all know, if you can't read or write, you're not going to get a chance at a good job, and jobs, especially in the rural areas, is far and in between. There's not a lot of them, so but you're going to need to be educated in order to get a job, and even to transact business on the side of the street, because it's always a kind of joke with some of the kids. They out there selling stuff, and so you give them money and they look at you strangely, because they tell you how much it is, and most of them, if you give them a larger bill, they may not know how much change to give you. But if you give them say a 500 franc, they know that it's what you bought cost 200. They know to give you 300 back. But if you give them a 1,000 franc, they kind of have to think about, okay, I'm not used to giving out change for 1,000, so how do I calculate that? Because they remember stuff like that. So education is important, and but the sad thing with it is, most of the people in the Congo are unemployment is probably 50 to 75%. Most of the people don't have jobs, and the sad thing with it is, the people who do have jobs, some of the employers are unscrupulous, and they can take advantage of people, because they know they got a job and they got 3 or 4 people who are waiting on that job, so they can not pay you this month, and they know you're not going to quit, because you're the only thing in town. So so they will not pay you maybe 2 or 3 months. I know people that now has been waiting 6 months on pay. They pay them 1 month, and then they say, we're going to catch up next month. Next month they skip, and maybe the 3rd month they get another salary. But so as they go along, instead of catching up, they getting farther behind. And will they leave that job? No, they will stay there, because hopefully they believe that at some point in time they're going to actually catch up and get all this back money. But probably it never happens sometimes. It's the person leaves and goes away, something else happens, and the thing is, you have spent all this time for maybe half the salary that you would have normally got, but that's the only thing that you got, and there's a half a salary is better than no salary at all.
Yeah. How are donations doing? I know that a lot of people now are in the U.S. are out of work, and I know that you're funded by people here in the U.S. I think primarily for. So how are donations going at this point?
Well, this is a strange year, and the thing with it is how we have, I would probably say, even though a lot of our donations come from individuals, but they're through church contacts. And as you know, the churches have not been meeting, and we were scheduled to go visit some churches, and the churches have not been in session. So those potential donations that we could have received, we did not, because the churches wasn't, they wasn't having church. So definitely for this year, our donations are going to be way down because, uh, you know, and it's partly because of the way we have done things. We have met people face to face and gotten donations, but we're now just trying to reach out on the internet and through Facebook to capture some of those donations. But when you were relying upon meeting people face to face and you can't meet those people, we're really down, and we'll see. But as you all could understand, is the need is just as great or greater now with what's going on. But just as we had food lines and people without food, there's people everywhere that's without, food and suffering from it. One of the good things is that some things, as far as like education, we didn't have to worry about because the kids hadn't been in school, so we didn't have to help school supplies and things like that. But we still had to pay scholarships for students that only went a half a year. So we hope they'll get done and everything.
For
Hey,
those
Frank,
who, yeah,
I tell you what, let's wrap this up, and thank you for the question. Let's do it again, because
well,
I need to
Woody,
get back and take care of the jungle.
I see that you've got work waiting on you, and
Yeah.
I would like to ask you to give the information how people who are interested in helping can contact Congo Helping Hands.
Yeah, they can go to either through our website, and that is www. PINGHANDS.org, and there's a donate. They can donate through there.
Would you repeat that?
Also, they can give a donation online at Facebook. All you have to do is select make a donation, and our organization is listed as not for profit. So you just look up Congo
Helping Hands on. I can't hear you, Woody, but it's been. Can you hear me?
Oh,
there we go.
I can hear you on the phone, so I've lost you on my headphone. So
okay,
I'm listening to you on the phone. But
yeah.
So let's go ahead and call it quits, and we will do this again. Okay. I appreciate
Woody,
you
nice
spending some time with me.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you and Barb have a good day, and I will talk with you later. And I see one comment that came in from my good friend Lou. And Lou says the best way to help is to find a reputable mission in the area to have a mission help with their point of view. So thank you, Lou. And Lou is up in Pennsylvania, and I met him through some of the water well projects that we are working with Paul Law on. So thank you again, Frank.
Thank you, Woody. Take
All
care.
right. We'll call it quits, and we will see you later.
Okay.
And thank you, Lou.
just get behind the garage and up the side and call it quits.
Yeah.
If you want to, if you could move the snow thrower back in the garage and move that recycle can, then you'll have direct access to those trees right there.
Yeah, I will do push the back and then come this way.
Okay. Well,
That fence somewhere in the middle is laying over.
yeah, I'm sure it is.
So
It's falling down. It's not as bad as this right here.
Yeah. Oh, what is going on here?
I've got